Episode 8 of my Mars playthrough tutorial thingy on easy difficulty in the game Stationeers. And today I want to put up some display that shows us what the atmospheric mixture here is. So where will I put that thing? Console. If you have one console, you can do this, or you can show a diagonal screen or whatever, but there's also LEDs. And if you want to make a bigger one, then you need multiple consoles in your hand, and I'm doing this right now. Where will I put this thing though? That's a bit tricky. Man, everything's full. I don't have any space left. Or will I just do this over here? Yeah, directly inside of the main station. Let's do that then. So this will show us what the atmospheric mixture is. As in how much oxygen do we have, how much nitrogen. And it's currently 0. Yeah, obviously we need a sensor for that. I already have a sensor in the main station, so maybe I should use that instead. Oh, what's happening?
Storm incoming.
In
Storm.
More than 10 minutes there will be a storm.
Storm incoming. Storm incoming.
Okay, I need some programming stuffs once again. I should also make a facility where I can refill my my fuel thingy here, where I can get fuel, for example, for the advanced furnace, which I don't have yet. Maybe I want to print that while we're at it. This video will not be very long because I have to keep my schedule today.
Storm incoming.
So I don't know how much we will do.
Incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming.
What?
Storm incoming. Storm incoming.
Oh, you make the advanced furnace here? Uh-huh. Where shall that programming stuff be then? Maybe here to express its purpose. I realize I'm doing a lot of programming in Stationeers. One of the reasons is that I've been a programmer for many years. Yeah, really, multiple decades. And so that's what I love to do. Another is that I have some philosophical perspective on why programming is something that everybody should be able to do. I'm not going to go into that yet again, or will I? Advanced furnace. And another is that is just the ultimate thing to control reality here with just a few lines of code. I don't know if I want to put up a computer here or just use my laptop. I opt for the computer, so another one, basically. Because this room might have some more chips that will all be on the same logic circuit, and then it would be very easy for me to see in the drop-down of the computer here, I mean not here but over there, what I have on this circuit, and I remember, oh, there was this thing, this might be inspiring, and then this is easy to use. I can just edit the source here, click export, it will run instantly. Whereas if I use my laptop, I would have to put the chip from the socket in there, export the source code to the chip, and then put the chip back. And that's less smooth and more clicking for me, so that's why I'm doing that. Oh, this will take a while. I need a sensor. I can also make the sensor with this guy, so this is annoying.
Store incoming.
For the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened.
See, in the previous video, I put in this weather station and the alarm that comes on as soon as there's a value, a countdown value returned. This one's rounded, it's actually a decimal value. These are seconds, and that's what you get. And as soon as that's not 0, I just show this thing, it will be on. And this guy will keep speaking.
Store incoming. Store.
And this switch
incoming.
is indeed harmless, because as soon as this goes 0, as in the storm is already going on, or between storms, this switch will automatically flip back to 0. And if I then turn it on again,
Store incoming.
it will also flip back to 0. MIPS is really, I mean, the program is really the shit, you have to learn it. And dude, okay, maybe I should actually make my case for programming. Because, where's the motherboard? There it is. Because, I mean, let's assume that you don't know programming. Or you have done a little, but it's not your thing, or whatever. If you would get ever into, and you might say, why would I? We get to that soon, I hope. I haven't prepared this, but off the top of my head, I will hopefully be able to make my case. If you know a bit about programming or know nothing about programming, this game is certainly one of the best, if not the best ways to get into it, because here you can experience a purpose. Did I already make the IC motherboard? Nope. Here you can experience a purpose. You can control the pressure, the temperature. You can show information. You can do the thing here that I did with the
Store incoming.
warning. You can program. You can program this thing to automatically pressurize your canister to the right level without it overpressurizing, and if there's some dirt in there, it will automatically be pumped out. That's all of that is on this chip. And ultimately it comes down to a few lines of code. I mean, currently you hear me blah 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 telling you things. This gives you information. It kind of programs your head. I mean, you're not a computer, not executing what I'm telling you, but the thing is, it puts something in your head that works, that is a whole thing, a puzzle, an image. It tells you something, meaning. In the same way, you blah 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 to the computer, so meaning emerges and the computer can do a thing. And why wouldn't you have slaves? Slaves in reality? Humans? Nope. But I mean, we're in this day and age where you can have a machine that will do your bidding. Yeah, why don't you do that then? Why don't you, or is that, no, I abhor the idea of slaves, which I do also, and therefore I will not even have a computer be my slave. Just as a symbol of my, don't be stupid. But why should you get into programming other than this game? I mean, I just gave you a good reason that this game is a good way to get into that, but why would you get into that? That's still the question. Why would you go into programming? So let's see. What? Oh, stupid. Well, do you think that computers are here to stay? Yes or no? Yes, computers are here to stay. Computing is here to stay. You know that computers are programmed, right? They have to be programmed, else they don't do shit. Someone is doing that for you, you don't have to do that. Maybe the AIs can indeed do the programming for us in the future. I'm skeptical about that, but you know, I've been wrong before regarding in regards to what these things can do or how quickly we can achieve that, because man, I am surprised what these things can do now. Really awesome. So, for example, this Black Mirror episode with the Miley Cyrus doll, which I actually like, is not that much of a science fiction. I mean, that doll, not on that level as shown in there with an actual consciousness, but in principle, how far are we really away from that when you can already meaningfully chat with these machines? We're already there, man. So, but anyway, computing is here to stay, and these things need to be programmed. Oh, here we can see what we have here. Nitrogen filtration unit is this one. Air conditioner is this one, doesn't have a chip in it. And then is of course the housing here, which I will turn on. IC housing. Doesn't matter. Let me change the music, it's a bit hectic. Yeah, I believe that computers are here to stay, and I believe that programming is also here to stay. But let's not play the game of reality with the assumption that humans will eventually become superfluous because machines will supersede them. Let's not play it like that. It doesn't feel right. The assumption is that computing is here to stay, and therefore programming is here to stay. So that's one of the reasons why you might want to learn programming, because then you too can be one of the many people growing amount and even growing ratio. As in, mankind is growing, but the amount of programs is growing faster, of people who can do programming. So, yeah, that would make you, I mean, why is the amount of people growing? There must be a reason for that, yes? Because there's good money to be made, but you already have a different job, so why should you bother? Well, let's go then to a different argument, which is one I keep making regularly, which is what we as a people, mankind, over all of our history, have been trying to free ourselves from the shackles of matter. When we were freezing in the caves, when we were hungry, when we had only one variety of food to eat, when we... and so forth. So then we didn't have... then we like pissed into a pot and then tossed that out the window, indeed. But now we have toilets and... by the way, at this point, just as we should not forget the peoples who were crawling in half a meter narrow coal mines to get the coal for the energy, for and so forth, which eventually got the industry going and the world going, the shoulders that we stand on. Shut up, Eliza Kassan. Shut the fuck up, stupid fucking bitch. I'm really angry here at this point. Anyway, so just we're standing on the shoulders of giants of those people, and now I've lost my thread. Thank you very much. Dioxide. Anyway, so situation improved further and further. Now we have freed ourselves from matter somewhat. You can basically cast spells now using your smartphone, and when you get home, your laundry will already have been done. And when I want to eat something, I tap a few times, and then some short time later, someone will ring at my door, just hand something over to me, and just turn around. I don't even have to pay, at least not in person. So that's quite more advanced, isn't it? And this is us freeing ourselves from matter, or maybe we could say we are freeing our will. What's happening is more and more what we want. And the computer is the ultimate such machine. It's not just a steam engine which produces some electricity maybe, or which moves an object from A to B or drives a motor. It is an omni machine. You can do anything with it. Other people... What the fuck? Why is this turned on again?
Store. Incoming.
Ah, right. I changed that so that the last 15 seconds this thing would always be on, so I wouldn't forget that the storm is coming. And that just worked just fine, right? Worked very well. I don't even have like a PlayStation or a television or a hi-fi or anything. I just have my computer and it does everything. Why should I have a different machine here? See, it does everything, and I can also program it, so I'm even more free than the average person. And I think that programming is therefore kind of like the ultimate ability. You learn, when you learn programming, you learn how to tell reality what to do. It's an Omni machine. I can tell the machine what to do automatically. This, automatically that. And why wouldn't you want to learn to free yourself from matter like we all did over thousands of years, more and more? Why won't you be one of the forefront where you can sit at home and say, hey, you know what, this program, it doesn't exist, or it doesn't exist in the form that I wanted, so I will just make it. I have done that quite a few times, and I'm happy with that. So Stationeers is one of the best ways to learn that. That's also why I think programming should just be normal.
Hunger caution.
Now I need to look for the large LED, small, medium, large, because it has its own name. Copy that. Define... What's the name again? Wait, that's all I need. This thing with the yield is actually something that would also occur in a real-world program, only it would be written differently, where if you would have a loop that indeed keeps running at super high speed, you would give the machine some breathing room so you don't unnecessarily burn, is the metaphor I use. It's not literal. Burn the processor. I mean, if you don't need it at such a high speed, then maybe sleep 10 milliseconds or whatever. Anyway, so here, now I want to load from the gas sensor the information of the ratio oxygen. Load into R0. Whoa, wait, no. I want to load into the register, which I will use, the value that I'm interested in. What value am I interested in? I have one display, I want to show multiple values. So, I will reserve a register for that. And then we initialize that with 0, and then we check what value it has. Branch relative and not equal R002. So what's happening here is I'm checking dis mode. I mean, if display mode is not equal to 0, then I want to jump to this line. No, to this line. 1, 2. And now I will move. Load batch named. Still as sense into the register R0 the value ratio oxygen. But if the display mode is a different one, like 1 for example, then I want to load the ratio carbon dioxide. And if the display mode is 2, then I want to load the value ratio nitrogen. But I also want to change the color of the display, so I will now reserve another register for that. I will not reserve really, but then in this case of oxygen, let's say move into register R1, which will be my color register, color.white. Carbon dioxide shall be, I don't know, gray? Is that a good way to do it? Or brown, as in plants need it? No, that would be green then. But green is also for, yeah, it's a bit, what do you choose, you know? Let's say carbon dioxide, I make that gray. And nitrogen I make green. Okay, now I have the two information. In R0 I have the ratio, in R1 I have the color. Now I want to treat the display mode itself, add dis mode 1. So I'm adding to whatever's in the display mode now, 0, 1, whatever. I want to add 1 to that, and that the result shall be in dis mode. Then I will check branch relative if less than or equal dis mode 2. So if the display mode is 0, 1, or 2, less than or equal to 2, then I want to jump by 2 lines, else I will move into dis mode 0. So this thing now cycles with 1 yield pause, 0, 1, 2, and then when it has reached 3 here by means of addition, I will not skip this line, and so it will be set back to 0. So we will have the value 0, add, then we're 1, 1, add, then we're 2, 2, add, then we're 3, whoops, set back to 0, 0. That should work. Now I want to set, want to write to the LED. Write to the LED that it shall be on, for example. Then I also want to write the color, R1, and I want to write the value, which is setting in this case, R0. You can look all these values up in Stationpedia, and this should already be it. Let's see what that does. And here we go. That's a bit fast, but you can see now quickly what the ratio is. I could instead set the thingy here to a different mode. Instead of just turning it on, I can also set the mode. Instead of just turning it on, I can set mode 1. The current mode is 0, but I can also use mode 1. What happens then? Then we get percentages. That might actually be sufficient for what we want to do. If I just want to get some quick overview, then this might be sufficient. It's a bit fast for my taste, but now you could just do yield twice, or I could just say sleep 0. Does that even work? Sleep 0.1? I'm not sure. No clue, but this should be equivalent to 2 yields. It seems so, though for a moment it was there very long. Maybe that just doesn't matter really, but I'm not sure. Oh, and when I point at that, I get the exact value. Not bad. But let's go further. First, let's explore what the next mode does. There's only 3 of them. This is for showing wattage. If the value gets high enough, it will be written differently, and then there will be kilowatts and megawatts and maybe, who knows, gigawatts. But if I want to see how, with some precision what's happening, then
Wasteland critical.
then I would want to use mode 0. And then I go and multiply the value that I have, multiply into register R0 from R0 100, because what we're getting is a ratio, but this way I would now show it as if it were a percentage, but then you also have some decimal places. A bit too many decimal places for my taste. So how can we deal with this? Well, how about we multiply it not by 100, but by 10,000. And then we round that into the target R0 from the source R0. And then we divide into R0 from R0 by 100. So I just added 2 digits here and subtracted 2 digits here. Now we will have 2 digits here. Nitrogen 33, oxygen 25, and that. We can also add pollutant, and yeah, let's add pollutant. Pollutant is important enough, and I know I will use yellow for that. So we have to think that the display mode maximum must be... Now, don't confuse which is which. This is the amount of lines. This is the display mode value. We have to compare that with a different thing. And then I also have to add a line here or 2. Yellow, ratio pollutant. Did I say volatiles? Then I just misspoke. It's not equal to 3. And that's it. Now we have the pollutant in the mix. And now I have to wait quite a long time to get all the information. So instead of all of this, I will instead, not all of this, instead of this I will go turbo again, and I will choose different colors. Let's make carbon dioxide brown, so that we have very different colors. And also the white sticks out. It screams at you, oh, there's something being displayed. This is not so very visible because it's darker, same for this. And then we have this, which sticks out again. Maybe that is more user-friendly. See, now you can like find the rhythm, anchor your mind to it, so you can see white, white, brown, brown. You can easily see what's what. Maybe 2 decimal places is too much, I'm not sure. But anyway, okay, now we have achieved this, we can see what the atmosphere is. Turn this off, because it uses electricity. Oh. The brown is a bit too dark. I will change the brown to green and the nitrogen to I don't know, what colors do we even have? Maybe this is better visible. No, I will confuse it with yellow. Oh my god, so much pollution! That wouldn't be good. Yeah, the association could be black light, which is usually purple. Like a light that is very, maybe friendly for mushrooms, because mushrooms need darkness and they need nitrogen also. Look how I made that work. I'm awesome. Well, what shall we do next? I have some stuff on my list. So that's done. Yeah, and I want to see if my station battery is actually increasing or decreasing in electricity. Which seems a bit superfluous now. It's like this. But we can turn on that extreme device over there, which I used in the previous video, which eats like all the electricity. 500 degrees still, and here we have none. I observed a bug there yesterday, I'm not sure about it, so that's why I'm taking measurements first. Let's turn that off. Is there another device here? All the devices that could be on, yeah. This one too. 11.7, 515. And now. Okay, looking normal. Also normal? Yeah, I don't know what I observed there yesterday. So these guys are now gobbling up how much? 10,000 watts. 10,000. That is ridiculous. And it shows. To make that even more fun, I could turn off the connection here so that the solar array just charges its own battery instead of also the station battery. This one should turn blue any moment. I could add basically a flashing light on top of this building so when I go out here I will remember, oh, this thing has been turned off. That wouldn't be a stupid idea, though I would have to put a chip in there which has electricity at that time, and currently the way things are wired up, I don't have that. Oh, it's blue now. Good timing. That's the way I like it. Reality, good. You've done well. So I would like to see whether this one is decreasing, which I can by the current means, which is ridiculous in everyday life. So how can we do that? I want to put up an LED. The difference between an LED and other light types is the LED only consumes 25 watts, so it doesn't seem like it seems like this would be the better choice then if you want to save electricity, but it also gives off much less light. And these guys here, they don't even give off any light, even though they seem to be a lamp that can be turned on. So we have these wall lights, and we have the LED, whose color you can set with logic. That's the idea here. Because if I want to use this thing to indicate whether the batteries are currently being emptied or filled, then I can turn this thing off or on before that would change my electricity situation while measuring it. It's of course negligible, 25 watts, who gives a fuck, but I mean still, I will just keep this thing on and change its color. That makes the most sense. 25 watts, and then we have this one, and this one. This one's slightly... Damn it. This one's slightly angled. It was, yeah. And then we have this one. That's the one I prefer. It doesn't give off more light than others, but it is itself full white, so you get the feeling as if things are brighter. That's why I keep using that thing. And then we have the diode slide. You can see that thing in action here, which you can set a progress bar value on it. And then we have the battery light, which you can actually see in action over here in my bedroom. Yeah. So it's currently connected to electricity, but you also have a battery buffer, so that's an emergency light. And it is buggy, because the battery will not necessarily always discharge. If I disconnect this one cable out here, this will not discharge. If I disconnect the cable directly at the device, it will discharge. I hope they will fix that bug soon. Yeah, that, and then we have the round light, and the angled light, and the light round small, which we have here. And finally, again, the wall light, which we had in the beginning. So let's put up the LED, and when I glance over here to my batteries, I want to understand whether they're discharging or not. But where? I think that works. Huh. Well, I'm running out of simple names. I should have used a decided pattern from the start, but I didn't plan this, so... Haha, I picked a name that I hadn't used yet, like poplars and zitzers. So, the installed computer here. We have light, power and arc furnace, import. This might be rather full already, I'm not sure. Oh no, that's enough. That should be enough for what we want to do. Yep. I mean, I will use quite a few lines for what I'm doing. I haven't done this before, so I have some idea in mind. Define as not sure what the name is. Let's see. LED has the name structure diode. Oh, okay. Let's first see if I can control that guy. So here was where my main loop starts over, and yeah, be careful not to lose the last lines of your code when you're pressing enter. See, it's gone now. And if that last line is the one that restarts your main loop, then you will experience interesting problems. It's a good way to do it this way, in these blocks. If you can avoid using subroutines, you know, subroutines that I haven't yet explained. Like I would jump to the subroutine with this command. I know, the name is stupid. Then it would store where it currently is. Because I'm not just saying J, but JAL, you can see that store next line number in RA is a special register. And then this will be executed. And then here I can say jump to wherever that's pointing at. And this means that this line will be executed next. Even if I have this up here, in this case, that line would be executed next. And here, that line would be executed next. So it's a very cool subroutine, you know? Then you can set up your registers, R0, R1 and so forth, give them some value, and here you use that value, so you have a versatile tool down here. But anyway, if you don't have some subroutines, then the last line would be probably your jump start thing. And that's a good thing, because if you lose that down there in Nirvana, then it is very obvious to spot. You can very easily see something's wrong with my code, and then you should first scroll to the bottom and see how full it is. SBN. Oh. And I want to set a color. Blue, green, red. How many colors are there? We humans are rather poor, right? I mean, we have such a small palette of colors to pick from. I mean, we have ultimately tons of colors, but when it comes down to it, how many do we really have to choose from? It's sad, man. I hope that eventually mankind will evolve to have infrared vision. That would be fucking awesome. In addition, obviously. Aha, and it turned on and it turned red. So that thing is in principle working. Now we need to determine whether the batteries are charging or discharging. Do we have the information of the battery level somewhere? Yeah, here we have the battery level. I'm first saying switch all the batteries on in case some of them have their switch to the side and I can't access it. As long as I have the logic connected and it's on the same network, then doing this will turn all the batteries on, so that's simple. You can also turn them all off. Haha, let's do that then. Have you seen? Oh. I didn't think about this, did I? I don't have any battery buffer between these and the... Yeah, and here's a battery buffer in here. Else I would be kind of fucked. See, it's discharging. I maybe should use a battery buffer for occurrences like this. Though these batteries are the buffers, that's why I thought I don't need it. Oh! Oh, right. It's... What's happening? Okay, multiple problems at once. I always tackle too much at once. So I cannot turn this on now because the moment it is turned on, it will supply electricity to the thing that turns it all off. That's fucked up, isn't it? but we can fix that.
Hydration critical.
It's hilarious. Adventures.
Hunger critical.
Emergent. Which one was that? That's climate. That is power and such. Oh, I could just turn this off. Does this work? Ah, this works even without power. Don't leave it in here, no, because if there's a problem of significance, then I might need the fucking crowbar, and then I don't have it. I can't manufacture, and then I will suddenly stand in front of my station and realize that's how easy it was to lose it all? This one click? Yes. So maybe you want to bury a chest somewhere over here in some secluded space with an with an autolathe and some other things. So, give me some electricity. And then I can fix that stupid mistake I made there. Which is hilarious. A hilarious mistake. I'm glad this happened. It's funny. So, the demonstration was successful. It's all... Oh, right. Now they're all on again. We can continue. So we have our battery ratio here. Loading from all the batteries at once. Not one distinct battery. Their ratio, average. If you also have large batteries, you can do that, the same thing. But if you have both, the small and the large ones, then things get tricky, because you can't just combine these two values in a simple fashion. Then I would recommend that you just take the actual charge value. This is the ratio from 0 to 1. But you can also get the actual charge value, and you can add all of them together, and you can also get the max possible charge that they can have, and or add all of those together, or maybe multiply them if you know you have this many batteries, whatever you do there. And then you do some proper math. In other words, you calculate the sum total ratio of all of that together. That's one way to do it, I guess. Or maybe even the only way, I don't know. So now that I have this, I wanted to use it down there also. In other words, I'd like to have some kind of permanent value here. Alias... I don't have to do alias for that, not at all, but how am I not supposed to get lost? I mean, one of the main things that programmers will have to learn, and it might take them decades to really wrap their heads around it, depending on how much they develop together with others, is you must assume that you will fail. You must assume that you will forget. I mean, you're writing the comments not for someone else, but for yourself. Also, ideally also for others. You should, then again, you should also skimp on comments. You should keep them minimal, because every comment is a fact that your mind will struggle with. And if the information is wrong, then you have affected the opposite of what you wanted. So now you have to also keep the comments up to date. And now if I keep writing a fucking story here, describing everything in detail, then yeah, good luck keeping that up to date all the time. I've run into that problem often, and yeah. So now the battery ratio has been loaded into our register R15. I'm using R15, 14, 13 and so forth, because there's register R0 to R15, which is 16 registers, and obviously it's easier to just, for temporary values, just R0, R1, it reads easy, it's more easy on the eyes, right? And so the ones that I reserved, quasi-reserved, this is just a name that I have for that thing, but otherwise nothing has changed. It's just that I can use this with its name. When I do this, I use these registers, which I'm least likely to use manually, so to speak. Then we are setting the slide on and setting the battery ratio. So I have the battery ratio down here. I want to know, is that value increasing or decreasing? Therefore, I need to know what the battery value was previously. And that seems tricky. How do I know? How do I have a memory of what happened before? How does that work? We have the stack on which we can store values, but I don't want to do that now. It's too sophisticated, and I also personally have no experience with that. I mean, that would be a step too deep. But I would say alias Batt ratio 2, as in this is the second to the second current. This is the past, and this is even more past, and I will... This is basically me smoothing it out over time. So let's say the battery value was higher here, then was slightly lower here, then was slightly higher here for whatever fluctuant reason in the consumption of electricity. Then my lamp over there, which indicates whether the charge is going up or going down, would be going green, red, and whatever color change all the time, instead of giving me the useful information of currently we are good, or currently we're not good. And that's what I want to do. Of course, I can, instead of this, I can use some sophisticated programming here, where I would say, where I use a time counter here, an extra register, when I say this has been executed 100 times, so now let's take another sample and compare the two. Basically swap the values around, you know. That's what I could also do. Instead of using the current one and then the next current one from the previous yield and that and so forth, I can also just use two values and smooth them over time like that. But I will do this now. Because I don't know, I decided so, but also this is a technique that you can use meaningfully in other areas of programming where you want to smooth out some values. When basically you want to low pass filter something. This is not the best way to do it, but it gives you an idea of how to do it. So battery ratio, and whenever I initialize the program, I'd like there to be defined values in here. This is not necessary. I mean, let the LED show some crap in some moments, who cares? But, I mean, why skimp, you know? So I'm moving the value 0 in both of these. This will not be the true value that, as in, I will get a wrong average here of the last few values every single time, but it will be the same wrong value. And so that makes sense. So 2, 3, 4, damn it. This one I don't have to initialize because it is my current one, and so here is being kept current. When I'm going down here, this value will always be set, but these ones, they are from the past, or when I start the program, they are from the nothing. So let's do the thing. I would like to compare the most current value that I have with the previous ones. Now up here, when I gather the current one, I might actually want to move the previously current one that I had into the past. I can do that here, or I can do that down here, and it's kind of my choice where I do it. It's slightly different how I have to do it then. And well, how do I do it then? This is basically when you program, when you make subroutines and such, you should try to separate your concerns. What is it that I'm doing in this subroutine? I mean, if this were a subroutine. And what is it that I'm doing in that one? So you should try to keep that separate. This is not for my battery charge history. Therefore, I will care about that whole history juggling down here. When we're here, and when we arrive here, the destructive editing of this register's content has already happened up there. It's unavoidable, you can't do anything about it. Therefore, doing anything to the history before we then evaluate the content of the history is not useful. So when we have done whatever we want to do here, afterwards we can do some history juggling, and then up here, when we put the most current value into our history again, we won't overwrite anything because we have already taken care of that at the bottom, and we would have separated our concerns. This is just the battery level showing, and down there we do the history stuff. So this is the highest one. And what I will do then is here, I will say move into that register the value of this register. So this one is moving one step into the past. This is older, this is newer. So when we are going into the future by going up there to the start statement and then yield and blah blah blah, then we will look at this as something that is older than this, which it has become by this, or whatever. Now make sure, of course, that you do this in the right order, because if I first move from 3 to 4 and then from 4 to 5, then all of these will have the same value, but this is useless, obviously. And then we move from the main one to the second one. So 5 becomes 4, 4 becomes 3, 3 becomes 2, 2 becomes the main one. It is good to phrase it, to like verbalize it in such a way sometimes, to listen to like some kind of countdown, which you can completely predict. 10, 9, 11, wait. Completely boring, right? But in the way that I phrased it here, 5 becomes 4, 4 becomes 3, it is also completely boring. So when my mind does that, it won't get out of step. Meanwhile, I look at this text while speaking this, and then I will possibly read something that is incongruent with what I'm speaking, and then I will think, oh dude, wait, that's wrong. See, I mean, sometimes it is useful to turn yourself into a machine a bit to verify things. I mean, the computer expects absolute perfection and precision, else it cannot work. And so that's what we have to deliver. So 5 becomes 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2 becomes the main one. Anyway, what do we do with this? Now we have the oldest value, we have that somewhere here, and we have the newest one. Let's compare the two. What does compare mean? We can check if if it's greater than the other, or it's equal, or if it's negative. But every time, it's less than. But every time we would have to juggle this one and that one. But I want to get rid of this thought. I don't want to have to think about this anymore. So I put this thought out of the way first. So what I do is I subtract into register whatever I choose here. It doesn't matter as long as it's not 15. I subtract from this value that value. Which means that henceforth I don't have to consider this or that. I just have to see, is this positive, is it 0, is it negative? That's what I have to consider. No longer have to think about my history. The history is no longer a concern. Why in this order? Well, let's imagine that as a graph on screen, which has its time line from left to right. This is the past, this is the present, this is the future. No, not the future. So here's the present and here's the past, the past, the past, the far past, 1,000 years in the past. Here the batteries were high. Here the batteries are low. So we would have a diagonal going down. If we want to say, yeah, that is indeed, we have a negative situation. The batteries are going down. Then if I take this high value here and subtract that low value here, I would actually have a positive value. 10,000 minus 1 is still a positive value. So even though the batteries are going down, this will be a positive value. So this approach is wrong. We have to do it like this. Now the low value, I subtract the high value from the low value, therefore I have a negative value, and I think negative is a good association. If this is negative, then our situation is negative. Then I want to write a color here. Let's use once again register R1 for that, and then I want to choose what I want to do. Let me just deal with that. Save the game. Some drinking problem. And I'm lazy, so let's just do this. And then I'm littering again, which I object to. Why I'm not holding that empty thing in my hand? That doesn't make sense. I don't know what that is. Are they trying to make a political statement like you shouldn't litter, which you shouldn't? I mean, that's the thing. Can you prevent someone else from littering in the streets? Hardly, right? I mean, it's possible, but not actually. I mean, if you don't see them doing it, how can you do that? You can pick up other people's trash, but I'm not saying that you should do that. Well, how do we get rid of the problem of littering then? By not littering. You don't litter. The other guy does it maybe, but at least you're not doing it. You might think that's not really helping, but I mean, since we're not talking about the CO2 problem, where we should really be talking to China instead of destroying our own economies with some kind of almost futile effort, when we're not actually tackling the main problem, the main polluters, I mean, as long as we don't... it's not even being addressed, is my perception. If it's not being addressed, then what the fuck what are you doing that for? You have to change their minds. You have to work on that front. Anyway. I mean, the only way to really get rid of the problem of littering is everybody stops doing it. So if you have ever tossed some stuff on the streets, even if it's a cigarette butt, well, please do the following right now. Feel guilty. Because you are guilty. And don't do it anymore. That's all I can say. People should just stop doing it, and this is the way we get rid of the problem. Anyway, so let's look at the history. Now we have, I think, 4 potential cases. One is the batteries are full. Do we want to show something on this LED then also? One is the batteries are kind of being slightly discharged, but not significantly. But what does significant or insignificant mean? Or they are being discharged considerably, or they're being charged considerably. What is the value? What values would I choose for that? At first, I will just say I ignore the case that they are being neither charged nor discharged. Or... oh no, maybe I would shorten it. Yeah, shorten it. Yeah, simple. When will you ever have that balanced case where there is neither a charge coming in nor a charge going out? When they're completely blue. When they're full. That will only be when they're full. Right? Yeah, let's do that then. Let's assume branch if not equal to 0 are 0, 2. I want to branch relative 2 lines, and here I would say move into register 0, 1 color blue. So I say the color shall be blue if register R0, the difference in this history, is not if it's not equal to 0. I want to skip this line. I want to skip 1, 2. I want to skip here, you know, 1, 2. If it's not equal to 0, but if it is equal to 0, then I opt for the color blue. If it is greater than 0, if it's greater than 0, then we are currently charging. But if we're not charging, then this here shall be executed, which will be red. And the next one is kind of superfluous. I'm not sure. I have an idea. I will just start with the assumption that we're being discharged, that we're discharging. If no change is taking place at all, then blue. If the change that is taking place is greater than, if the change is taking place is greater than, then I want to skip this line. So we will just stick with green. Greater than, then we will still have green. Else we will get red. So that should work. Let's see. It says green. Are we currently charging? Hard to say. If I could see the current battery charge, that would help, but I can't because I don't have a display for that yet. Let's zoom in here. Maybe that helps. Come on. Is being discharged. You can see, I mean, that's kind of what I expected, but why is it showing... oh, it's showing red? Okay, then the situation changed. Yeah, let's assume this works. I think it works. Is that thing still on over there? Burning battery? No. Ah, right, I don't have my solar battery connect to the station. So let's do something that was disastrous before in the previous video. I will just turn this on. So this battery, which is actually not completely full, I'm confused. Yeah, but it's probably 99.9% full. Will be blasted into that at maximum possible speed, except I'm slowing down the speed slightly because I have these transformers here, which are set to 45,000, which is very lenient. So we have 90,000 when these cables can take 100,000. And I had them at 99 point something, and then the cables burned out. But probably because I have these other consumers here also. So let's see. What happens now? Will I get burnout or not? Hopefully not, because I fucking hate that. Currently everything is set so that it should be working. So we should now see that this thing, if everything works out, dumps its charge completely and very quickly over to all those other batteries there. Let's just do that then. Okay, I would have expected that. Oh, no, it's still happening. No cable burnout. So that's what it looks like when 90,000 watts are going through. Now we should actually see that this thing over there. You see, this no longer gets electricity from this guy, which is always dumped entirely into the station. So yeah, but we didn't have cable burnout. Glorious, nice. What's happening? Oh, that's... Is there a day sensor here? No, there isn't. I've never seen this in action. Let's go back to the day sensor, and I believe what we will read there is that the vertical value of the sun is minus 174 or something. Minus 171. Aha, see, it just crossed the 180, so whether the sun is to be seen on that side of the planet or on that side changes, and so they just decide, okay, let's go over there then. So here, the horizontal angle, this is actually the value I'm writing, the horizontal angle, I guess just, 180 was added, something like that, effectively. Okay, now I can't see whether that's being charged, but once the sun is up, we should see this thing being green. Yeah, with that out of the way, what else is on the menu? Yeah, I would like to make a greenhouse, a large one, to convert CO2 into O2, since we definitely have enough CO2 on this planet, and also have some Harveys there, which I've never used so far, so I would have to figure out how to use them. Quite tricky, I guess. And then I can also use that to produce lots of biomass, this stuff, which, if you look up here, biomass has actual volatiles, so it would have an infinite volatiles production, slowly over time, but it would be infinite. That's interesting, since that stuff can be used for fuel gas, and the atmosphere of the planet has oxygen, so we would have infinite oxygen and infinite volatiles as an infinite fuel gas as a supply. I think we want to set up such a thing, right? But for that I need infinite volatiles. Where would I put that then? But what I also want to do is these two doors here, which are quite cool, I want to close them automatically, so I would have to replace them with doors that can be closed automatically, even though it looks quite cool here, right? I mean, this is serious business. Shit is going down, that is what this is saying. When there is some kind of hazard. I don't know how to classify hazard yet program-wise, but and how to implement it exactly, but I'd like to do it somehow that these two doors will be closed automatically when there's a hazard on this side or on that side. Maybe that respective door should close. That would also tell me where the hazard is. That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Or should there be the side where there's not the hazard, where I want to protect myself? I don't know. It depends. But protect from what? See, where do I put the sensor? I could put the sensor here, and then if I detect something fucked up, I close both doors. I could also close just one door, but which one? I can't detect that with one sensor. I have a sensor here now, I have a sensor there now, so I could use both them to detect if there's pollutant and such. And then I can close the respective door. But what does that mean? If I detect there's some pollutant here, then I could close this door to protect the rest of the station. That makes sense. There, where I detect the problem, I close the door. I mean, the problem here is association. Just like, think of the word flammable and of the word inflammable. Both words mean the same. God damn it, mankind, or British, American people, what the fuck have you done there? How can you have words that would classically, by the way they have been composed, mean their opposite when it comes to something as hazardous as that? It's like, hold your fire! And someone might, in the tumult, only hear the word fire. How can you do that? I mean, hold your fire! Dude. That's why you say stand down. See, you have to, and in this case, I'm trying to, and when I program, try to have clear associations. Always, see, that's what I have been doing for more than 20 years now. I assume that I will fail. That is what you should do. This is not a matter of not believing yourself. That's not what I mean. I mean, be realistic. I mean, how no matter how good you are, sometimes you will forget a thing. Like, oh, that's lying over here. I thought it was here. Okay, whatever, I found it. Let's move on with my life. No, no, no. Reflect on that. Reflect that you just did something wrong. Reflect that you're not perfect, or reflect that maybe you are perfect, but you're not alone. There's around you a reality with billions of people, and reality itself also. So maybe that influences you. I mean, who knows how much? I mean, I have some concepts there, and if you would hear them, you would think I'm an idiot. Haha, that's why I'm not talking much about them. I mean, maybe the reality is also influencing your brain directly, right? Anyway, so you must assume that you will fail. So you just put something in a different place, or that appointment. You're looking on the clock. Oh, that late already? I thought it was. And so forth. There's always an opportunity for you to realize that the program that you're kind of running in your head is not congruent with the reality. There is some disparity. So that is what I call failure here. I'm not saying don't believe in yourself. Do believe in yourself, because you are just like, I don't know if you ever lived, I don't give a fuck, not religious Jesus, or like Gandhi, or like Hitler, or like a black person, or a white person, or a child, or a woman, or a man. We're all the same. We're all the same inside. There's just the mind. And what shape it takes depends on how you grow up and what body you're in, I guess. And what the shape of reality has. You are perception in a space-time situation. That is the true definition of you. You are, that's your identity. You don't have this or that or whatever identity. That's just inertia. You know, you're just a mind drifting in the flow of time. So, that's just inertia. No matter how hard, I mean, I am definitely very defined, but maybe in a few decades I will not program at all. Instead of would just be walking the world with listening to audiobooks and helping people dig some wells in their garden. I don't know what the fuck will happen. See, your identity is just inertia. It's just inertia. It's not nailed down. I'm not saying that you should change it. No, I'm not saying that at all. But in this way, you should assume that. How did I get here, man? that escalated quickly. You should assume that you will fail. That believe in yourself, because you can basically be anything you want to be, or anyone you want to be. The limits is with effort and with time. That's basically the American dream. Yeah, that's what it fucking is. That is what it fucking is. But you don't have to stuff that label on it. So believe that inside of yourself, you're just, maybe if you're a theist, you're just like God, you know? Also, just a mind in a situation, and what is his or her whatever situation before the universe? There's no situation, there's just him, for simplicity's sake. And so then he would necessarily be objective and subjective at the same time, because when we are trying to be objective, we are looking at all of that which exists as well as we can, and then we determine the best possible decision. And when he would look at all that exists, that would only be himself. And so then when he makes the best possible decision that he can make, there would still be a subjective decision, but would also be an objective decision. Ha, wasn't that fun? Anyway, just assume that your mind is limitless in principle, and so in this way, believe in yourself. But believe also that you will make mistakes, because you will make mistakes. In this way, try to set up the reality around you so that it supports you. Have associations, have comments in your source code. Put the things where you will assume that they are. For example, when I leave my apartment in the morning for work, what I do is I have a countdown, which is like 8. Okay, let's not go into the details. But the numbers that I use, they have a strong association phonetically with what I'm doing there. And for example, I also switch off a fuse, which connects to my entire computer stuffs and the space heaters and so forth. And that has a number written on top of it, and that is then the number that I chose for that position of the countdown. I never forget my keys. I never forget my mobile phone. I never forget to turn all that shit off, because I have that routine. You might think that's robotic. Yeah, dude. You see that it can make sense. Assume that you will fail and set up your life accordingly. If you don't do that, you are not living as well as you could. And why would you not be living as well as you could? Why would you not? Why would you not? You only have this life, however long it will last. Make the most of it. Why not? Explain yourself. Anyway, so with that out of the way, which door would I close then? I would close this door when there's pollution here. I will close the other door when there's pollution there. As in, oh, there's the door closed here. What will happen if I open it? Better close the other one before I go through. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. And this then should maybe also be a room that can optionally evacuate into the Martian atmosphere, which will lose me atmosphere in here, but that's usually not fatal. I mean, it's just a little bit, this little box room, and it should be optional. So I have this thing up there, I click the button, this can be evacuated, so in case there's some pollution here and I don't have a scrubber here, I can at least make sure that when I re-enter the room that is probably not polluted, I can make sure that whatever crap was over here will not do that bad shit. So let's do that then. Let's set that up. We have an active vent here, I need a passive vent. One active vent? We have multiple. Suck that dry then. Where will I put that? Yeah, let's do it like this. Because then it's also quasi, like an airlock, and I can just place the passive vent up there, and later I can expand on this. Do I have a passive vent here? Another active vent? Lol. So, when you're at work doing stuff, and you have to do this, and that other thing, write that down. Have a little text file open at all times, with which you can take notes, and also at home. Yes, why not? I mean, when you're PC-centered, when your life is quasi-PC-centered, when you're doing a lot on that machine, have that available. Where are my pipes? Do I have some pipes on me? Ah, pipe dream. So, if you always have a text editor open, then you don't have to think about where to save that text, because you always have your notes for this year or this day or whatever. And then when you need to write something down, you just alt-tab over there, type it, and see, if you keep that hurdle small, that hump very small, see, once again you have done something to your mind. You have prepared the landscape of reality so that your mind can function better in it. That is along the lines of assume that you will fail, only in this case was obviously slightly different. I should have an APC in here also. Area power controller with buffer. Wait, that's wrong. So if it is very easy for you to just take a note and then also to save it, like you type and then press Ctrl S, which I don't even have to do because I use IntelliJ, my integrated development environment in which I write Java programs, which you can also just use for a simple text editor. I mean, the project column, where you can see all the files that are part of your project, you can just use them for text files. And then you can switch between your years or between, for example, I have some kind of weight watching thing going on, not because I'm fat or whatever, because I just want to keep track. And so I step on the scales every week, and then I write that down. And then I can follow, oh, there's some parent development there, maybe I should need to do something about that. So it can switch between your different files. And with the IDE, and it doesn't even cost anything. And to remove that myth, if you want to develop commercial programs with the IntelliJ IDEA development environment, then you don't have to pay for that either. That you can do that commercially. Yes, yes, yes. It is true. Believe me. You can look it up. It is really so. So you can download that for free. And then you can use that, and I don't even save my texts then when I alt-tab over there and switch over to a different topic and write a short note, and then I Control-tab back to the previous text or select manually, whatever, because that thing saves my texts automatically. And of course, at least by default, but you can even turn that off idiotically, I don't know why, it saves that as save saves, meaning that just like what I said in a previous video, which is currently being crunched by YouTube, where I explain how you can repair your Stationeers save games, which is very easy to do. Oh, nice. I wonder if that's intentional. I wonder if that's a glitch that I'm just using here successfully, that I can point at that location there. Oh, no, now it doesn't work. That the next one shows up. If that's intentional, then kudos to the developers for thinking of that. That makes it very convenient. So the IDE switching between the texts, and it would save that automatically. And if you have if you use save saves, this means that first the program, whatever program you have, will save the document, and it will not save that document though in the place where you want it to be saved. It will save it somewhere else, or possibly in that very place, which I would recommend, but with a different name, like a temporary file. And god damn it, I wanted to make more. Copper. I need to get some gold. I wasn't mining between videos this time. And then, that once the document has been saved in this temporary file, then the program, for example the IntelliJ IDE, will go and rename that file to have the name that it actually shall have, the name that you wanted. Why? Because then when it has that name, then you can be sure that the file will be complete. It will only do that when the file has been completed. And so if your computer crashes, then you will not have the problem of an incomplete file. And that's particularly important when the document already exists, so you would basically be overwriting that file. You would still be asked in the classical context, in Notepad or whatever, when you want to save that file, whether you want to overwrite it, but in that moment, okay, I don't know what Notepad does, but a sane application will not actually overwrite the file, even though it asks you if you want that, but it will first create that temporary file, and only when that has worked out completely, then it will replace in one move the actual file with the temporary file, because then you can be sure that it will work. And that's also what IntelliJ IDEA will do after a few seconds, of 10 seconds or whatever, this default setting. But the moment you alt tab out of that application, so it will no longer have the focus, it will save instantly. So it is so easy. You alt tab over to a text file that you will have open all the time, write some note, something that I wanted to do here in Stationeers. So here I alt tab, I did just now, you can't see that, I hope. Or did I change my recording settings? No, everything's alright. Haha, you can't see what I have on my computer. Good. Because don't we all have some things that we don't want to show? I do. Then I see my text here. I can say, okay, we have done this. Let's put a little star next to it because I've done that. And then I just alt tab back and I don't have to think about a thing. It all happens automatically. Very convenient. And so in this way, at work and at home, should have open some text that is also already saved in a place, so you don't have to consider, where will I save that then? And if you do it like I just described, when you have some large texts, some notes that are not dedicated to some particular purpose, but maybe here I have one that is called 2024, guess what it contains? This entire year, some notes for every day. Then you will not have to think about it. And this makes it easier for you to write something down, and thus makes it easy for you not to forget stuff. Huh. Shit. So assume that you will fail. This will make you a more successful person, I promise you that. Okay, placing on that side was not ideal, but was the right choice because of this stuff. What's the time? Okay. Now the passive vent, do I still have that on me? Did I not make a passive vent? Huh. Apparently not. See, it makes sense to assume that you will fail. At least it makes sense for me, but, you know. Also, I believe this assumption that you will fail might give you some humility, which can be very productive, because the moment you take your, I think it's called ego, but that is a too colorful term, I don't like it. If you, the moment you take your emotion out of your mental information processing, the more likely you are to process information correctly in a less biased fashion. And so when you assume generally that you will fail, then this might also lead you to, in a situation when you're so cocksure that you're not wrong, assume that maybe you are actually wrong in this one case. Which might also be counterproductive, yes, or has two sides, yes, whatever. But I promise you the overall outcome will be net positive. And if not for you, then at least for your fellow beings. And that is then still net positive, isn't it? Or are they undeserving? Well, can you determine that? I dare that I can determine that on some level. But that is because I have gone through the motions of investigating myself deeply, and thus implicitly others also. And so in some regards I have an opinion that is strong enough that I can say that person, we would be better off with a planet with one less such person. If you catch my drift. So this is now... yeah, this thing though would have to be pointed outwards. Inwards doesn't really help me. Hopefully I don't forget. Hopefully I don't forget to flip that around if ever I turn that into an actual airlock. Ah, not this way.
Oxygen low. Low pressure. Pressure critical.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oxygen
Yes,
critical.
all of this. Yes, I agree. So that I don't forget what I have there, I will now spray paint that stuff. Which is... I mean, this is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. This right here. Let's take an odd color that I rarely use. This one is fugly. Fucking ugly. Now currently we don't have any pollutant in here. And neither in here. And if I close these doors now... and use that to make sure that I realize, oh, that had this special purpose, right? This pumps the atmosphere away. Now I have some pollutant in here. But guess what? Now I can just see if that works. Thereby, of course, losing some station atmosphere, but okay. So I have also just demonstrated the purpose. Okay, now let's turn those into automatic doors. I need 2. Blast door. No. Which... dude, was I too fast? No. Which door will we use? The glass door? Sorry if I seem a bit hectic today, maybe it's the mental attitude of I have to finish this video in time because later I have to do this and this and whatever, and tomorrow is work and all that shit. Which I don't fucking want to do, but I have to. So this is the glass door, which precludes cables from being placed on the ground right next to it. The composite door, which doesn't have that problem and which allows me to name them in a way that the name will be printed on the door. Then we have the doors that we see there already, and then we also have the composite roll cover, which I can place on the ground, for example. Let's just place one here for fun. I don't know what the rotation is now. Ah, yes. Now I can access that chip. And I cannot access the roll cover. Okay, I wanted to make a new door now so I can keep this here, but no, let's just use this then. So what's the cable situation? Enough room here. Enough room there, so I still have the free choice as to which door to use. If I use a glass door, interesting, I can still see through this door what's being shown on the other side, the LED. Is that also true for the composite door? I have a composite door installed. Let's take a look. It's still being discharged, But we're looking much better, better battery-wise, and I guess one day really does the trick. Aha, we can look through it so I could read that display, and I could put some... Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's be a bit more stationary and see to that our doors name the sections that we're in, which also will motivate us to give extra purposes to those sections, which will in turn see I'm again manipulating the mind. Which one? Yours? Mine? Well, it doesn't matter in this case. I need to remove them. What's the way to do that? This? Anger grinder. Hand drill.
Waste tank caution.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, okay, that wasn't the right idea. Anyway, so glass door, composite door, both will work. I don't need iron for these, I need these guys. Glass sheets, aha. If I name them, I of course have a problem, which is that when I want to address them with programming, I will have the problem that well, I will have to use that same name then. But I just have an idea. We have a synergy situation here. It's not like I mean, we can ignore the name and benefit from the fact that we ignored the name. I can just say, when I'm in this room, all the doors that are on this logic network of this type shall be closed, because there's pollutant in this room. Doesn't that make sense? It does. What's with this then? Well, that's an airlock. So why shouldn't it have these different doors? I know I did it different over there with the solar, who cares? So far this works. Do we have a different network here? Yes, there is the thing that separates the power networks, and APC does that also. This room, for example, is on its own power network, and the only things in here are so far that. It seems a bit wasteful. Also, I realize I installed the doors wrong, because they're pointing inwards, as if this thing is supposed to control the doors. Instead, they need to be pointed outwards. And what I mean by pointing is the connectors here. I am not sure how to proceed. Should I turn this into an airlock? I don't think I need an airlock here, because both rooms are supposed to be breathable. Therefore, having an airlock here is not generally the right idea. So I will now flip the doors. Let's go through that. And go grind up. And wrench. What? I'm using auto rotate right now, and it is not suggesting to me the other rotation. Why is that not happening?
You are listening to Synthera.
It works though. Guess cable corner here somewhere? Where? Oh, up there, shit. What am I doing? I'm placing glass doors again. Composite door. Which one was that? This one, right? Yeah. Composite door. So what if I cannot use these doors because they are no longer powered? I don't see a way out of this other than having a corridor here, which obviously I can't make at this point. So this whole zip compressed station building, which I'm still doing like an idiot after all these hours, is not what you should do. You should give it some room, give it some space to breathe, because then I could just have a corridor here and could have manual hatches surrounding this whole system. One moment. Well, I'm not sure how to proceed, but let's just do what we set out to do. If there's pollutant here, this door shall be closed. Yeah, but what if I am in that room? What if I am the one who causes the pollutant, for example by spray painting? Then this door will be closed. But then I go through here to... and then this will also be polluted. I have to close both doors. Both doors have to be closed. Dude. Man, this is getting annoying. Okay, the way I would do this is I would turn the doors around again, would turn this into an autark thing where it will work with this battery buffer, and I would have some kind of circuitry in here that would be triggered from circuitry over here. For example, I would have a memory chip here which gets its value set, and maybe I will actually have a chip in here that sets that value from 0 to 1 the whole time. And here I say I set the value to 0 the whole time. And here I measure then what value that thing has. And if it has too much 1 over time, then this means this one, or this one here, couldn't keep up. So maybe there was some failure over here or some failure over there. And so we should, to be safe, rather assume that something failed. And when that value is then too much 1, then we close those doors. That is a dead man switch, basically. So if this thing dies, this is a watchdog principle. Or whatever. It's a nice idea. Should we do it like that, though? Let's think. It's a new concept. I haven't thought about this yet. So this could be a space. Let's invert the doors. I guess that's necessary. So closing all doors at the same time is not an option, except if I would address then all such chips also at the same time. Let's flip those doors around again. Meanwhile... no! How do I do this? Right. How can this be done? Okay, we already have an assumption. The assumption is that this will be a fail-safe room. Then we can decide over time how sophisticated we want to make that fail-safe room. I could just put a sensor in here, which would then be one step further into the direction of airlock. Is this a glass door? Composite. Composite, okay. And then just say, the moment I detect some pollutant in here, I close the doors, but then it might be too late. Because maybe while I close the doors, for which the doors also have the value whether or not they are idle, see, that's a process. They're not instantly closed, they are closing and then they are closed. Then something might have seeped through to the wrong side already. We don't want that, so I guess I should use the sensors that are in the room. Which implies that this thing should actually not be triggered by its own sensor, but by an external sensor. Of course, we can do both. we can have its own sensor in here. We can use an external sensor, and this will then make it a bit tricky to program to make happen and so forth. And also the chip that I would have to put in here would take 50 watts, and this buffer then might not hold for too long. Then again, this guy is fueled by all those station batteries out there, and how likely is that to fail if I don't program them to be off? Yeah, so we could have a multi-stage failsafe system in here that has several levels. One is it just checks is there pollutant in here. One is it checks has there been an active trigger from out there, or has there been is there missing trigger from out there? You know, is that room no longer reporting that everything is all right? Oh, okay, then let's close that room quickly, for example. Which is tricky, because if I have this room reporting and that room reporting, then both of them are reporting, and yeah. Too bad I'm not proficient with the stack yet, else I could probably address this chip, which would be in here's stack from here somehow. I have to find out at some point how that works. This currently I would use a logic chip, a memory chip, and as you remember, the memory chips have two connectors. One is an input, one is an output. Or both are, I don't know, but they would allow to bridge logic networks. So I could have one cable network here with electricity and one over here, two different networks, but there would be a logic chip in between, which can be read and written from both of them. That would be then exactly the solution, except that would only be the solution for one side. What if I want to also do the failsafe for this side? Then I would need a second memory chip. I could also use a logic mirror chip, which allows me here, for example, which allows me to connect that logic chip into the logic mirror chip, and then I read that logic mirror chip from this network. The same from this side, read or write, you know. Logic mirror means that you have full access to the device. So it would have full access to the memory chip here, and yeah. So this chip in, let's do that. Let's do the fucking shit. Housing. No, not housing. Housing. 2, please. 2? No, I need 1. I need a logic chip, memory chip. I guess I will implement this only for one side today because time is short. It's not necessary to run this, but if there's a problem... Hey, wait, why is it... Oh, because there's no chip in there. But if there's a problem, then why shouldn't I be able to spot that early and not just later when it's prime time? This is one of those situations where I would program the chip using my laptop instead of installing a computer in there. And a memory chip. Or do I not need one? Let's see, I could write the housing. I can access this housing and
Power low.
could just write to the housing from here or from here. And here I would of course need a logic mirror that can then access this thing. Let's make a logic mirror. I have those chips already, I think. Or is it a special chip? Reader, writer switch, batch slot reader, reagent reader, batch reader, slot reader, logic mirror, okay. I have 2, very convenient. I can place it here, that's good news. I believe the input side would have to be... yeah, that's what this thing then would reflect. And then this device would effectively be the device that I'm mirroring. Since I'm using these, where can I put my cables? I can put them right next to the door, very good. So I can connect that. Same on the other side. Only into the logic mirror, please. Else we're fucked. Damn it. This thing is in the way. These stupid things, man. But okay. If I choose to decorate my room, I guess that's what I have to live with. So it goes into the logic mirror from that side. And this room shall power it. Where do I get my electricity? What? Oh, the cable comes from above? Okay, whatever. Ah, it's working. Now it wants to know, what the fuck do you want to mirror, dude? In not so many words. And so I use my screwdriver here. And I can choose active vent, composite door, and IC housing. Because that's all we have on that circuit. Oh, and yeah, that's it. So the IC housing has been chosen. Now I can address this guy from here, and I can constantly write a 1 into this. And the moment I detect in here that I have some emergency situation, or the moment this room shuts down, I will not write that value in both cases. So this room will know, oh shit, closes doors. And locks them. Ha, no.
Filter low.
What? The filter low warning should be revisited software-wise, Rocketworks, please, because sometimes I get the filter low warning very late, sometimes very early. I don't know what the idea here is. Now, the same logic mirror on the other side. Cannot place that in the pipe. I object. No, I don't. Where I put this then? Well, it has to be reached from here. On the wall then? That's the input, that's the output. I have to crowbar that. Oh, that was not the best choice. Because that's Martian atmosphere out there. So what just happened? Let's see. Pressure in here, 80 kilopascals. Because we had overpressure, none of the pollutant of the Martian atmosphere got in here. We're still fine. So that was an accident that shouldn't happen, but it did. I can wire that stuff up from... What's happening here? Yeah, that's this guy who cleans the air constantly. I explained that in several videos, let's not do it again. And the logic chip is there. I need to connect it now. Is that the input of the logic chip? I want to go outside and do it there. Too bad I forgot the screwdriver. Hey, wait, how do I... There's a problem here, but there's a solution also. If I want to configure this guy, I need to open the wall, as I cannot access the screw. If I do that, though, yeah, guess what happens? I mean, it's a thinly veiled thread, basically. As thin as these glass walls, even though they feel more comfortable, because you can see how thin they are. Here, you don't see it, and then you're surprised, so that's even more thin, effectively. Is that the input side? It's not saying what the input side is? or I cannot access this because there's this wall kind of thing here. But I think I placed it correctly. Yeah, that's glorious. There's no connection here, man. That doesn't make sense. Okay. That is now logically connected to this thing. This can now be... I will just do this so I know where it is now. And now we also need the power connection. Maybe I can do that from here. Tricky. I can do it from this side. Anyway, so if I want to change that, I can't. I can't access the screw. What I can do though is I can place a flat wall on this side, or any kind of wall on this side also. Doesn't matter which one, I'm just trying to be fancy. I would use the flat one again. I wish I had the red spray paint on me, because that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because this way I might forget what it is, what the meaning of this wall is. The lamp is green, we're getting electricity. Oh.
Storm incoming.
Yeah, welcome to a Mars station.
Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm.
This is occupied. I cannot use the vertical line here, that doesn't fly. So I have to work myself around this. This is inconvenient, but it's something I can forget in 10 minutes also. Not a problem. Okay, wired up, and now let's save the game and see what happens if I open that wall. Nothing. IC housing. Now I have the opportunity to access the IC housing's setting, or read it even, from here. And also to be stupid and turn it off if I wish so. Oh, I need to turn it on. Yep. And maybe I should give it a name. LM emergency. Same name here, because why not? And now I don't know how exactly how to work with this thing. But we have here this thing which is running. Oh, I can't access it. Ah, you can. IC housing. So I can see what value it has. Damn. A bit cumbersome. Now we'll try to write the value of that dude. Light power arc furnace sounds good.
Storm incoming.
Shut up. How much time do we have? 10 minutes almost. Do I have to access the logic mirror here, or do I have to access the IC housing? That's a good question. Let's see what the logic mirror does. Oh, it doesn't even say, huh? It doesn't have any logic values itself. That makes sense. I'm not sure, does this mean that this other chip, this IC housing, is now accessible directly from this network? As if it were already in this network? I guess so, but this means I should give that thing a name. And this also means I should be able to access it with one of these screws, so I can investigate exactly that problem. So let's use one of these screws, which are set to nothing because I don't use them generally. Climate, light and power, door. Oh, no, it's not accessible. LM emergency. I can access the LM emergency though. I don't know how this works. Oh, I cannot turn this off at all? I cannot reset it to nothing? That's disappointing, because this means that now this is kind of spoiled. This is misinforming me. I'm thinking, oh, this is set to A. No, it's not. It's just I can't turn this off again. I will actually take a screenshot and ask for that. Psst. Okay. Well, then I will just assume that this thing is now the IC housing, and the name that the IC housing has, though, is this. So that, well, IC housing. Structure, circuit housing. Now I will write a value to this thing. Maybe. No errors, okay. 0. That didn't work. Well, maybe I have to actually... Maybe I have to access actually this thing now. So, low mirror is... Structure, logic, mirror. Let's assume for a moment this works. I'm still saying here IC housing, and I will keep saying so because it makes sense. Now I would read this and be confused. Hey, wait, this is completely... Oh, right, this is mirrored into this room. Once again, brain supported in his future potential failings. Or rather, the opposite. 1, okay, I just wrote to that thing. Let's repeat what I did. This is its own circuit. There's nothing in here but the active vent, that thing here, but it's not even part of the same logic network. The logic is on the outside. And then we have the 2 doors and this IC housing. Then I connected this logic network to the input side of the logic mirror, respectively. I mean, this one is irrelevant right now, but I want to do this in both rooms. And the output side just to this room's network, and the power then to whatever. It doesn't matter. Of course, I choose this room, because if this room loses power, that's bad. If this room loses power, that's not as bad. This is the emergency protection room. And then I went into the source code and I assumed I was actually accessing a logic mirror device. So I did everything for logic mirror. But then down here, I can treat it as if it's the device that it is mirroring. So do everything logic mirror, logic mirror, logic mirror, except where you're actually handling the device. There you can pretend as if it's the mirrored device. So basically we have already implemented that which we needed to implement. Except, well, if I'm doing it like this... If I'm doing it like this, then I can only react to one room, not to both. If both are setting this to 1, how am I supposed to detect that one room is no longer doing so? I could now set here a 1, and for the other one I could set a 2, and then I would wait when I observe these with my chip for like 5 seconds, and then, though 5 seconds might be way too long. I mean, what the fuck am I doing here? It's tricky. I basically need multiple values that I can set. I mean, not multiple different numbers, but indeed multiple values. Else I will not have a good time. But I can do something. I can say load the setting value. Load the setting value into this register. And then add 1 to that. And then I write this value back. So initially there would be a 0, then this becomes a 1, and then we have a 1 in there. And the other room does that also, and what I expect is a 2. If I don't have a 2, then the door needs to close. I don't know if this will actually cover all cases, but I will try that. One moment, a little trick here. Yes, the last 15 seconds of that, I know. So I just copied the source code, the relevant parts of it, to my clipboard, basically to an outside editor. Yeah, this keeps counting up, of course. Now let's do the same over here with that logic mirror. No, it crashed. No, it didn't. Copy. I will now edit these things into that code. So that's efficient. That's faster. So paste. Here we have these logic mirror thingies, and down here I am using them. Do we have a yield up there? Yes. If this thing is slowed down, then of course this emergency deadman thingy wouldn't work. Oh, look at that. I mean, it seems as if that might actually be feasible. Well, then let's close the doors programmatically, and then let's later close those doors programmatically only if we need to. And I think there should be a light in here. Maybe there should be a flashing light in here when there's an emergency going on. And its color shall be white, because that's cool. We'll do that later. Or... Now there's pollutant in the air, which has been cleaned slowly. By this thing. Will take a long time for this little spray action to get done, but whatever. Okay, then I need to connect it. This is a bit off-putting for some people, I guess, but that's their problem. So put that ship in here. Import. I want to address the flashing light. Since this is such a small network, I will just access them by type instead of by also naming them and such. See if that worked. Export. Aha, that worked, okay. Now I want to set the value. Load from where you're housed into register R0, the setting. And also write the setting to be 0. We can already do this, and now we can start evaluating and see what happens. Basically, we just need a logic statement. Is it an emergency or is it not? And then we work with that statement. So write into register R0 whether it is equal to 0. If R0 is equal to 0, or like this for example, if this is equal to 0, then this one shall be 1. And then this shall be on, and the doors, they shall be closed. It's not just an inversion kind of thing that's happening here, but also this value might be 127. And, oh, I realize that's not actually what I want to do. It shall be at least 2. Yeah. So write into register R0 whether register R0 is so far greater than or equal to 2. R0 must be 2 or greater than or equal. Then we're satisfied. And yeah, what am I saying? That's the opposite. And now I need the opposite anyway to close the doors, but I think we should once again have a logical unit here. Reload the value, reset the value. Now we want to evaluate whether we have an emergency. That's the purpose. So this is, when I later read the source code, this will be my thinking when I read this line. And then I first have to decipher, oh, that's not so. So instead of being like extra efficient here, let's rather be careful. So here I find out R0 is less than 2, then that's a 1, and this turns the emergency light on. Now I will invert that value. If R0 is equal to 0, then I want a 1 as the result, and so here we will be. Now I will write to all the doors. Not sure if that's correct, I will just try. I'm not sure if this works. Actually, I think both doors will be open. Oh, no, that's not what I should do. I shouldn't force the doors open or close. I should only close them if need be. I mean, I would now open the door even though I myself determined there's an emergency, and the program would think, no, there's not an emergency, open the door, well, you an idiot. No, that's not right. So instead we want to branch relative. We want to jump over this next line, and we want to branch relative how? if, let's see what we are evaluating here. We are determining, is there an emergency? So we we jump over this door closing thing here. We jump over that. Let's see. If emergency is 0, equal. If emergency is 0, then we jump here. Else emergency is not 0, and we want to force the door closed. What's happening here? Alright, I have to compare that with 0. If R0 is equal to 0, as in there's no emergency, I want to skip this line, else I will close this door. That didn't work. We have the value 2 now here, stable. What might be happening is that we have a race condition. I'm saying there are two things happening at this simultaneously, and you cannot rely on which happens first. It seems to us as if we always have a constant 2 in here. But I mean, why would the game developers have decided to execute the logic mirror chips and what they're doing over there, this IC10 over there, writing that value to the housing before I'm actually evaluating it? So what might be happening here is that even though I see a stable 2 here, what I get sometimes is a 1. Because I'm asking for the value before that one has written its value into that logic mirror in here. And sometimes that might actually work out. And we might actually be very lucky, because that could have worked just now, and then later we load the save game, and then things might have a different execution order, and then it doesn't happen. So what can we do to make sure that this happens? Yeah, it's tricky. Can't even tell what the reason is. Let's look at the source code again. Maybe it's just a simple programming error, though what I just said I think is valid. We cannot rely on the order of events. Load into R0 the setting. Write the setting to 0. Which we have seen works, else it wouldn't have be a constant 2. Write less than. If R0 is less than 2, then this shall be true. And so the flashlight shall turn on. Hey, wait. The flashlight is not on. Oh. Weird. Okay. Another annoying thing about the laptop, sometimes you pick it up when you didn't want to. Ah, okay, see, what I said is probably true. Sometimes it thinks there's emergency, and sometimes it doesn't think that, and that is because of the execution order of events. You might think, why is it so changing? Let's not go into the details of that. But how can we get this reliable? I guess I can only get this reliable by writing independently, by not going for the value 2, but by having 2 value holders here that I refer to. 2 memory chips on both sides 1. That's really the only way to get that reliable, and then we can lean back. I don't see a way to make this reliable otherwise. I mean, we also need some kind of fast execution. And also, if you don't execute fast, then maybe this counts to 3, or just from one side, and I think everything is fine. So. We need memory chips. Aha, the air has been cleaned. Of course, the mirrors then need to address the memory chip. But I don't have to change the source code that I wrote in this room, because it will just address the setting of the device, and that is also the same value that I would have to address for the memory chips. Also, what I'm addressing, like I said, is the mirror. I address always the mirror, until it gets to the actual lines of code that do something with that mirror. In that moment, I have to pretend as if the mirror is not the mirror, but is the real device. Interestingly, I no longer need the logic mirror now. Because this thing has two connectors. Huh. Well, at least you have learned about logic mirrors now. I will remove it. Yeah, it's a bit off-putting, isn't it? That's the purpose, man. Come on, give me the fucking shit. Okay. You might think that I get angry easily. That is true, but I live with the attitude
Hydration critical.
that there should at this point in history not be any reason to be angry ever. And so regarding that, I think I'm rather calm. Always try from the top. From the bottom, this works of course, but through the glass, like I just did, from the bottom doesn't work. Which side is which doesn't matter, it's just two different connections to the same thing from two different networks if I so choose. See, the cabling is much more convenient. That you have to use so many tools all the time is a bit sucky, but it also has an upside, which is you won't forget your tools, because you need them all the time. Damn, I can't do this? Do I really have to go through those motions again? Man, because of this stupid thing? Ah. Now, theoretically, I should be able to address that logic chip. Let's see if I can do so. Currently that thing is showing a 0, and this thing is showing a 0. Oh, let's remove some cabling first.
Power critical.
I will not name that guy because it's not necessary and it's too cumbersome, but this guy needs a name. Emergency. Dude. Same here. Let's try to set it. What is the memory chip? Structure, logic, memory. Is there something happening? It's not turned on? Oh, right, stop. Okay, it's just doubling whatever's in there all the time. Oh my god, it's gonna crash. No, it's not. So what we want to do instead is we just want to write a 1 in there. That's really all, only that. No reading, no setting, no nothing, just write a 1. That's also why I'm not using the clipboard approach now. That would be just a wasted effort. Okay. Same from this side while we're at it. Hello? Somebody home? Right, that was emergency. No. Okay, from both sides now we get this value. I realize that well, this works actually. I will now just read a batch all emergency chips and would not care about their what's the word, their name. And if the sum that I get, which I can also get with that same call, is not 2, then yeah, we're fucked. I should also be able to reset them in the same way. Okay, so we're not loading from the housing, but we're loading batch named. No, we're loading batch into register R0 from all those chips. The setting and the batch mode shall be sum. In this case, it actually makes sense, sum a lot. Then I want to write batch to all these things setting 0 because I want to reset them to 0. And everything else should follow, I think. Come on. Huh. Why doesn't this work? Is this again a race condition situation? Yeah, maybe I'm setting it to 0 quasi-simultaneously with them setting them to 1. But it's now a softer problem. Now we don't have this addition problem in addition. But instead, how can we deal with this then? I could... I mean, I'm reading this value and I'm setting it to 0. And I realize I don't have a yield here. Okay, that's... Okay. I'm reading the value and I'm setting them both to 0 and then I'm dealing with that. And I thought I had a yield here already. And I think that same problem might occur then still. Let's see. Because the solution, I think then, is just to add a second yield. That will make the reaction 1 second instead of half a second. Oh, it's working? Okay. I find that a bit confusing, but I'm not complaining. If ever I discover a problem here though, I will just add 1 yield in that place, because this means that afterwards they will have had time to do their thing. But I guess it makes sense. I mean,
Exosphere.
yield means do whatever the fuck you want, system simulation, and then I will execute my stuff. But this does not necessarily mean that in between the other two will have been executed, right? I mean, let's say this one's yielding, that one's yielding, and this one's yielding. Now, which one will be executed first, that one or this one? Or that one or this one? I think it's unsafe to do it like this. But the worst thing that can happen is that this device will switch to emergency mode even though there is no emergency. And that is, I think, something we can live with. And later I will just add a second yield, because this then would mean that this guy and that guy certainly have run by now, as long as I don't go and add a second yield here, because then we're fucked. Maybe there should be a dedicated chip on this side and on that side for this overall functionality, but you know. Okay, now that we have the emergency room reacting to a potential emergency message, let's simulate one. Why is it still value 1? We just saw this one flicker to 0, I think, on screen. Very shortly. It hasn't happened since, but I thought I saw it. I saw it flicker. But this one, why is it still at 1? I don't get it. I'm writing a 0 in there. Why is there no 0 in there? Write badge class mem setting 0. Doesn't this work? Or do these things have an input and an output? No, that can't be, else I wouldn't have seen that one thing flicker. It's receiving information from both sides. This chip is now currently not running. Therefore, it is currently not setting the value 1 into this chip. So why is this chip still 1? Oh. Yeah, okay, the chip isn't in there, doesn't matter. That's not the reason. What's happening? Seemed like a solid plan, man. Wait, I need to shut up my program. Oh, it's already that late? Damn, I have to stop the video soon. But we're very close to completion, so... Why doesn't this work? Why is this chip not being set? I will just turn this off. And observe, we have state 1. I want to set the value 2. It still has the value 1. Why? What is happening, man? This doesn't make sense. That is a climate chip? Oh, do I have that on the climate chip here? Yeah, okay. It's on the climate chip, not on the power chip. Now it has state 0. But it is not closing the doors. I mean, oh right, of course, because this one is state 2. So we have verified that it is reading the sum of these. 2 and 0 is 2, and then we're fine. Why is it getting a 2 now? I mean... Why is it getting a 2? One? 1. Oh my god, is writing to both of them? How is this guy writing to both of these memory chips? They are on different logic networks, man. So now the door should actually close. Yep. Emergency is over. It's no longer flashing, but the doors are still closed. Very good. getting... yeah, we just saw it flicker again. 0, 1, 0, okay. And here we have 1. Why does this thing have the value 1? I mean, this one is not doing anything. This one is accessing that chip from here. And, oh yeah, that cable down there can go away. That's irrelevant. Damn, I want to get rid of it. Haha. Wait, was that the problem somehow? No. Here we have the value 1 and here we have the value 0. I don't know what the reason is, what's going on here, but... It seems to be working. But why didn't it? I think this cable down here was irrelevant. Oh, right. I think it was... this cable was connected to this side and was thus connected to that ship. Wait, what am I saying? I don't know what the fuck. But anyway, the problem seems to be gone. Let's drink something.
Hunger caution.
Shut up. Okay, here we have memory value 1, here we have memory value 2. Oh yeah, right, I wrote that. Makes sense. Let's change this to 1. And this might now be the race condition I was talking about. Like I need 2 yields to be sure, you know? Hey, why isn't it closing? What? Shouldn't this happen again at some point? Or is this maybe caused by... Aha, okay. See, the order of events is indeed the problem here, and by putting that thing in and thus restarting the code, the overall game simulation thought differently. I'm pretty sure that the problem goes away if I eventually find access again to this device here. If I just use 2 yields, so whatever... so even though I have written a 0 in here, they will both have had enough time to restore their own 1. Export. Let's check. Okay, that was not the... Okay, I'm talking gibberish. When I'm taking this thing out, of course, this room is no longer working. Maybe it was right what I said, but there would be a second reason for the door to close, which is the absence of that 1. Yeah, and the reason that it closed, I guess, was that for one short moment, the code wasn't actually executed because it was starting over. And that's why the 1 was not written, and that's why this chip thought there's an emergency. I will just keep the option of 2 yields open for the future. Is it really a total beginner tutorial still? Well, if it's episode 6, then it can't be a total beginner tutorial. You have seen the other episodes also, have you not? Okay, let's simulate an emergency. And now, of course, make sure that we have an actual emergency, as in polluted air. Start here. If there's pollutant, close the fucking door. Since we have this new display here on the wall, we can even determine which room has the pollutant without fetching the tablet. Here I'm loading the pollutant, and I will do so again down here, which is a bit lame, I guess. and branch relative if greater than 0, if equal to 0, 2. So I'm loading the ratio pollutant. That's actually not necessarily the best way to go about it. Let's prepare register. Because I want to check also for other values. And then I don't have to repeat this whole finishing line again and again. Instead, I prepare the value for it. It seems better. Less redundancies. Redundancies are something that a programmer should always try to avoid by means of subroutine, by means of abstraction. And special cases are similar to redundancies. Those are also things that a programmer must try to avoid, which is what Rocketworks is doing these months quite fervently in comparison to the months prior, to the years prior, where they built in some magical devices, some solutions would make happen, some things that we wanted to have in there, but now they are changing that. In the same way they are fixing the tutorials, they are not just trying to get them running again, but they're also trying to make them more robust against future changes, which is then a higher level abstraction solution that needs to be implemented. I will hopefully explain a lot more about abstractions, higher level abstractions, about the structure of the universe in this regard. I mean, reality in other videos, maybe a Stationeer video or maybe some others. I mean, there's still a shit ton of stuff I have to say, but let's stick with this now. So, R1 shall be 0. And that's the value then I want to write here. Load the pollutant. And if the value is equal to 0, if the value pollutant is equal to 0, skip. Else say that R1 is now 1. And now we have to do the same thing again for ratio nitrous oxide, which is that stuff that makes you unconscious if it's in the air. And then there's also volatiles, I think. Yeah, volatiles are certainly something I don't want to spread everywhere. Oh. I think this code lends itself to a copy-paste. So let's do that. Save. Export. Oh, why is it closing? Did I do something wrong? Yes. I don't know what. But I would assume the value written currently is 0. Yep. Why though? Move into register R1 as 0. Yeah, because I flipped it around. 1 is I am alright, and 0 is no, I'm not. Which one has that code? I think climate. Import. Edit. Yep, okay. Copy. External editor. Take the stuff I had at the bottom. Copy it over to this code. But certainly I need to look for a different gas sensor. Is this the gas sensor thing that has a gas sensor? Yes, it is. Excuse me? Uh-oh. Oh, I accidentally overwrote the code. I deleted the source code. Okay, let me save this. And actually, no, I don't need that. Let me, okay, pause from it. World.xml. I would just load an older save game and then blah blah blah, but I will just Let's see, when did I start recording? It's now 3 in the afternoon. That was 2. I load my world XML, and here I somehow have the see, the source code is also just saved in the XML file of the world, and when I find that location, I can just go there and copy the text. Period. So that's the arc furnace. That's the weather station. Klaxon? No, that's a new one. Active vent, that sounds good. That sounds like the right source code. Pipe analyzer, oxygen station. Yep. Have the source code. Da da da. That's why you always have to be wary when you click import or export which current chip is selected. Of course, that can't happen to you if you use the laptop. So yeah, the laptop has another upside. They both have upsides, but that's another score for the laptop. So what's the name of the gas sensor here? I don't have one. Oh shit, damn, I copied the wrong source code. This is the one of the oxygen station. Ah, here we go. In sense indoor, sense outdoor. That's the one. Glass gas sensor. La la la. Overpressure protection. Somehow I just managed to close too many text editors. What's the name of the gas sensor? See, there's gas sense and see, there's gas sense in. Ins. Climate. Edit. Paste. What is happening? It's not writing to the memory chip? It's writing to the housing?
Power low.
I don't know what's happening here, man. I've lost my track. How am I writing to that? Oh, I'm just confused. It's the structural logic memory. Yeah, the names are dumb. Now then, see, that's what I said. Now I'm being confused. Let's just correct this then, even though it takes more time. I'm sorry. CRS mem, ins mem. What? What is now the reason? Right badge named. Is there some pollutant in the air or something? There is not. Oh right, this was... There is no current emergency, it was just a shock of me writing the code which was interrupting the writing of one and blah blah blah. Okay, what is written here? CLS mem, ins mem in, and ins mem emergency. That should be it. Climate, export. Yeah, that was again, once again the shock, I guess. Okay, now let's test this whole setup. I will use the spray can. Do I have one? Yes, here. Haha! Glorious. And this emergency is still going on. At some point it will no longer be going on. This time will be later than anticipated, because I have to spray that back.
Oxygen low. Low pressure. Oxygen critical. Pressure critical.
Dude, why do I have this wall even? Can I close that again normally? I mean, there's nothing in here anymore. Yeah, it's no longer necessary. Okay. An unnecessary measure was just taken. Composite window, composite wall type 1. Alright. This takes 2. Oh, rather expensive. Anyway, okay, let's remove the wall on the outside. Batteries are full. This thing is still showing red, even though they are full. That makes sense, I guess, because, I mean, whatever value I'm reading from these might not be 1, but 0.99999%, because I'm using electricity. But these might have some tolerance, you know, they might say, I show blue even though I'm not perfectly full. Because that is more user-friendly, I guess. I'm pretty sure I have seen them actually not turn from blue to something else when I added some consumer, at least not in the first few moments. For kicks, let's just check in here. How full is that battery, which is constantly being sucked dry by the station? Okay, so we can leave this thing on now. And the pressure in here is 3 pascals, and this is supposed to run until 100 kilopascals. This seems extreme, right? This might take eons, but I like this. That this is just going on without my oversight. This guy makes sure that the pressure will never exceed, I think, 80 kilopascals in here. And yeah, Then we can hear these guys moving around. Are they not being moved? Yeah, that's what I would never understand. Look, here, 0. Am I the sun? Is this a bug or is this a feature? So the emergency is still going on, we can see it here, which means that there's still pollutant in the air, which is currently being cleaned by this pumpy thingy that I have in there with the phase change stuffs. I can open this door, but it will close itself again. So overall, I must say this was a success. I would have to wait for that thing to have been cleaned up before I... Actually, do we have some pollutant here? No, we do not. Here? Yeah, but if I spray paint something here, then the pollutant will get in there before it reaches the gas sensor over here, so that's not a safe thing. Also, this guy has a combustion detector, so if you have some kind of fire extinguishing system in your station, which actually exists as an explicit tool, I think, they can place in a sprinkler, right? Then you wouldn't detect that immediately, or you would maybe not detect it at all because the fire is over here and stays over here and burns and burns and burns, and the sensor over here is like, well, it's a bit warmer in here, or the pressure is high, maybe we want to pump some station air to the outside, but it wouldn't detect that there's fire. In the same way, our pollutant detector might not kick in time, but still, maybe this is at least realistic to have such a device. I could also add a gas sensor in there for some redundancy, in case I spray paint here, or spray paint close to the door, or inside of this room even. Don't know how long it will take to clean that up, but then the fleshy thingy should stop. So I basically want to stop the video now. The timing is good. I just wish that there was could show that this thing turns off automatically. That would be nice. I mean, it's logical that it will, but still. How high is the pollutant in there? Can I use some scrubbing? Can I, for example, make another scrubber? What does a portable scrubber cost? No, not quite. For testing purposes. The portable air scrubber from the kit, hydraulic pipe bender. So, okay, we need gold, steel, invar, solder. Gold, steel, we have everything. No, we don't have solder. Do I have some solder somewhere? I do not. Huh? Still emergency? I forgot the battery. But I will just take one of these. Don't have to go back for this now. No. The scrubber is quite powerful, man. The emergency is over. Or was that temporal coincidence? This is stupid, man. Fix that shit. Okay, let's simulate another emergency then. It works. Hello. Okay, mission accomplished and it's late and so it's time for me to fuck off. And time for you too, I guess. To do equal things and not so many words. See you next time.